The ship's metal door opened with a low hiss, and John stepped down onto the alien soil. His boots sank a little into the soft ground. The air was different, here heavy, warm, and carrying the smell of strange plants he had never seen before. Bright blue vines climbed across the rocks, glowing softly as if they were alive. Strange birds with crystal-like wings flew overhead, leaving trails of light behind them. John took a deep breath. He was tired but also curious. For months he had been flying through empty space, answering a distress call from this part of the galaxy. He expected ruins, maybe danger, maybe nothing at all. But instead, he found silence. He scanned the horizon. The sky had two suns, one bright and one pale. Shadows stretched in odd directions. His helmet beeped softly, telling him the air was safe to breathe. Slowly he pulled it off. The air tasted sharp, almost metallic, but fresh. Then he saw her. Not far from the landing site, a figure stood on the edge of the glowing forest. Small, delicate, almost fragile. It was a girl, though clearly not human. Her skin shimmered faintly, like polished stone. Her eyes glowed with faint silver light, and her hair floated softly around her, as if the air was lighter near her body. For a moment, John froze. He had seen alien life before, distant, cautious meetings during his missions, but never this close, never this human-like. She seemed young, maybe the age of a teenager in human years. She was dressed in flowing cloth made of woven threads that shone under the twin suns. The girl did not move. She only stared at him, her silver eyes wide, almost frightened. John raised a hand, trying to appear calm. "Hello," he said softly. His voice echoed faintly in the strange air. "I'm not here to harm you." For a second, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, the alien girl bent her knees, lowered her head, and dropped to the ground in a deep bow. John blinked in surprise. "Wait, what are you doing?" The girl pressed her forehead to the soil. Her glowing hair spread like a silver cloud around her. It was not just a polite bow. It was complete submission, almost worship. John felt awkward. He laughed nervously and shook his head. "There's no need to bow," he said quickly. "I'm just human, just like you, living, breathing. Please, stand up." But the girl did not move. Her shoulders shook slightly as if she was trembling. Slowly, she whispered in a voice that carried fear. "You have returned." The words made the air feel colder. John frowned. "Returned? What do you mean?" She lifted her head only a little, enough for him to see her glowing eyes. "The stories. They told us you would come back, that when the sky broke and the stars burned, the humans would return." John took a step back, confused. His heart beat faster. What was she talking about? He crouched slightly, lowering his voice. "Listen, I think you're mistaken. This is my first time here. Humans have never been on this planet before." At his words, the girl shook her head quickly, her silver hair brushing the soil. "No, humans were here. Long ago, my people remember. We bow because we fear. We bow because you hold power." Now John felt the weight of her words. He wanted to deny it, to laugh it off, but then something strange happened. Behind him, near the ship, a broken piece of alien metal lay on the ground. It looked like a ruined device, some kind of forgotten machine. As John stepped closer, the metal suddenly sparked. Blue lines of light spread across its surface, glowing brighter the nearer he came. John stopped in shock. The machine was reacting to him. The girl gasped sharply and pressed her forehead to the ground again. Her voice trembled. "It is true. The machines know you. You are one of them. You are the human from the old stories." John's throat felt dry. He reached out slowly, his hand hovering over the glowing metal. The moment his fingers brushed it, the entire device lit up, humming with energy. Strange symbols appeared across its surface, symbols he could not read. The girl let out a small cry, not of pain, but of terror. She bowed deeper, her body almost pressed flat against the soil. John pulled his hand back quickly, the light fading a little, though it still pulsed faintly as if waiting for him. This doesn't make sense," John muttered to himself. He looked at the girl, his voice urgent. "Why does this thing react to me? Why are you bowing? I'm just a man. I don't have power. Not a god. I'm not even special. The girl raised her head slightly, her silver eyes shining with tears and fear. You do not understand, she whispered. For us humans are not just visitors. You are the reason we survive, and the reason we may die. John stared at her, stunned into silence. The glowing forest around them seemed to lean closer, shadows stretching like listening ears. He wanted to ask more, to demand answers, but the girl only bowed again, as if speaking further would break. Some unspoken rule, the silence grew heavy. The only sound was the faint hum of the alien machine. Pulsing, in time with his heartbeat, John realized something terrifying. She was not bowing out of respect. She was bowing out of fear, and whatever she feared, it had something to do with him. The forest around John was silent, but it did not feel peaceful. Every glowing vine, every soft breeze in the strange trees seemed to watch him. The machine at his feet still pulsed faintly, as if it was alive and waiting. Still knelt before him, forehead pressed to the dirt, her body trembling. John's chest tightened. He had faced pirates in space, mechanical malfunctions, even hostile alien raiders, but this was different. This was not about weapons or survival. This was about something older, something he did not understand. He forced his voice to remain calm. Look at me, he said softly. The girl raised her head slowly. Her glowing silver eyes were filled with both awe and terror. Her lips trembled, but no words came out. I told you, John continued, crouching down so he wouldn't tower. Over her, you don't need to bow. I'm just a man, just human. Why are you so afraid? The girl swallowed hard, because you are not just human. You are the human. John frowned. That doesn't make sense. There are billions of humans in the galaxy. I'm just one of them. Her gaze flickered to the machine still glowing. Behind him, she shook her head slowly. The machines do not awaken for us. They do not awaken for anyone. Only for humans. Only for those who carry the fire. John felt a chill spread across his back. Fire. What was she talking about? He looked at the machine again. The symbols across its surface were still glowing faintly, waiting for his touch he had never seen. Technology like this wasn't human-made, at least not like the kind he knew from Earth. It felt older, deeper, almost alive. The girl's voice broke the silence. When I was small, I heard the stories. My mother would whisper them at night. To warn me? She said, if the stars ever brought a human back, we must bow. We must show respect. Because if we did not, the human would bring destruction. Her words echoed in his head. Destruction. John's fists clenched. That's not who we are. Humans don't come to destroy. We explore, we build, we try to survive. But even as he said it, doubt gnawed at him. He knew humanity's history, wars, greed, empires built on blood. Was it possible these aliens had seen that side of humans long ago? The girl tilted her head, her eyes wet with fear. That is what you believe. But the stories say otherwise. They say humans are made of light and shadow. Some came to protect. Some came to burn entire worlds. We never knew which kind would return. Her hand shook as she clutched the dirt. That is why I bowed. Not because I wanted to, but because I was afraid not to. John's stomach tightened. The truth of her fear hit him harder than any weapon could. She was not showing him respect. She was begging him not to harm her. He sighed, lowering his voice. Listen, I'm not here to hurt you. I answered a distress call. Someone asked for help. The girl's face stiffened. For the first time, anger flashed in her eyes. No. One from my people sent a call. John's heart skipped. What?
Oh.
She pointed a trembling hand at the glowing machine. The call came from them. From the old ones. From the human machines buried under our soil. They wait for your kind. They call only to you. John's throat went dry. The distress beacon he followed across months of space had not been sent by living beings. It had been sent by something ancient. Something that recognized him the moment he arrived. The girl whispered, You should leave. Before the others know. Others. John asked. Her eyes darted to the forest shadows. My people, they see you? They will bow. But not all will bow in peace. Some will bow in fear, and fear brings hatred. They will want you gone or dead. John stood slowly, his hand brushing against the glowing machine. Again it lit brighter, humming like it wanted him to claim it. The girl flinched back at the sight. He looked down at her. Then tell me, what exactly are these machines? Do they react to humans? Her lips parted, but she hesitated. She seemed caught between truth and silence. Finally she whispered, they are reminders of what your people did here long ago. Some say you built them to guard us. Some say you built them to control us. No one knows for sure. But one thing is clear. She lowered her head again. They only answer to you. John stared at the device. A part of him wanted to test it again, to see what secrets it held. But another part whispered that the moment he did, there would be no going back. The girl suddenly grabbed his sleeve, her small hand shaking. Please, she begged, do not touch it again. If the old power wakes fully, my people will see the fire in you. They will remember. And once they remember, her voice broke. Oh, they will never let you leave. For a long moment, John said nothing. His mind was spinning. The distress call. The girl's fear. The machine's reaction. Finally, he took a deep breath. All right. I won't touch it. The girl's shoulders relaxed slightly, but her eyes still held deep fear. Then you must go. The forest watches. The land listens. And if you stay too long, others will come. John gave her a long look. And what will they do? She closed her eyes. They will bow, and then decide if you live. The forest air grew colder, though the two suns still burned above. John felt it in his skin, the way the ground seemed to hum, the way the strange glowing plants leaned ever so slightly toward him, as if they were listening. The alien girl kept her head low, her silver eyes flickering with fear each time she dared to look at him. John crossed his arms, trying to stay calm. You said humans were here before? That's impossible. We don't have records of this place. Earth doesn't even know this world exists. The girl's lips trembled. Earth has forgotten, but we remember. Her words sank into him like stones in water. Forgotten? That didn't sound right. Humans had only recently spread to the stars. He wanted to laugh it off, but the glowing machine beside him was proof enough that something was wrong. He crouched closer to her. Tell me everything. What do your people say about us? About humans? She hesitated, her hands clenching in. The dirt. The stories are forbidden. Children are told not to speak them aloud, but when I saw you, I knew they were true. John's voice softened. I need to know. Please, tell me. The girl swallowed, then lifted her gaze to the strange, twin suns above. Her voice shook as she spoke. A long time ago, before even my grandparents were born, the sky burned. The old stars fell, and with them came your kind. Humans, they did not arrive quietly. They came in ships that cut the heavens, with fire brighter than both our suns. John's heart pounded. Imagine massive fleets crossing the stars, far. Older than Earth's current technology? Could it be possible? The girl continued, her voice growing distant. As though repeating a story carved into memory, some of the humans were builders. They brought machines like the one you touched, machines that grew our crops faster, healed our sick, made rivers flow again when the land was dry. They were powerful, yes, but kind. My people called them light-bringers. Her eyes lowered, shadowed. With dread, but not all were like that. Some humans came with weapons. They broke mountains with their fire, burned villages to ash, and turned the sky black. They did not build. They only destroyed. My people called them world burners. John's chest tightened. Light bringers, world burners, two sides of the same humanity. It made sense, in a way. Humans had always been both creators and destroyers. The girl's voice fell into a whisper. The war between the light bringers and the world burners tore our world apart. Cities rose and fell. Forests died and grew back again. And when the fighting ended, both kinds of humans vanished. She touched the soil gently with her glowing fingers.
Light.
But their machines stayed, silent, waiting. John glanced back at the strange device still pulsing faintly with light. It had waited all this time for him. He rubbed his temples, trying to process. If that's true, why don't we know about it? Why doesn't Earth remember sending anyone here? The girl's silver eyes locked onto his. Because humans chose to forget. The words struck him harder than any weapon. He stared at her, chose to forget. She nodded slowly. That is what the stories say. The humans who survived, whether Lightbringers or Worldburners, sealed their own past. They left the galaxy and erased the truth from their own children. They did not want you to know. John felt his stomach twist. If what she said was true, it meant humanity's history wasn't what he thought it was. Maybe Earth was only the second chapter in a much older story. The girl's voice grew colder. And that is why we bow. Because when a human returns, we never know which kind has come. Will you heal us or burn us? John wanted to argue. He wanted to scream that he wasn't a monster, that he wasn't some ancient warlord. But the memory of the machine lighting up under his touch silenced him. He had no answer. The girl looked at him, her body trembling. The elders will come soon. They will sense the machine's awakening, and when they see you, they will bow. Their bow will not mean peace. It will mean judgment. John clenched his jaw. Judgment for what? I've done nothing. Her voice cracked. Not for what you have done, for what humans have done. The silence after her words was heavy, almost unbearable. John felt the weight of centuries pressing. Down on him, he was one man, standing on alien soil, yet somehow he carried the shadow of an entire forgotten history. The girl turned her gaze back to the forest. The glowing trees swayed, though there was no wind. There is more, she whispered. One last part of the story? John leaned in. What part? Her eyes shone brighter, as if reflecting some hidden fear. In the prophecy, it says one day a human will return, carrying the fire of both the Lightbringers and the Worldburners. That human will decide the fate of all who remain. John froze. His mouth felt dry. And you think, that's me? The girl didn't answer with words. Instead, she bowed again, pressing her forehead to the dirt. Her silence was enough. Behind them, the machine pulsed brighter, its hum growing louder, as though agreeing with her. John's heart raced. He didn't want to believe it, but deep inside something stirred. A memory, or perhaps an instinct. A voice whispering that this wasn't his first time standing on such ground. It may be, just maybe, some part of the forgotten history still lived in him. And if that was true, then his arrival here was no accident. John could not shake the words from his mind. Lightbringers, Worldburners, prophecy, the alien girl's story. Clung to him like a shadow. He wanted to dismiss it, call it myth, just a campfire tale passed down through frightened generations. But the glowing machine behind him told a different truth. It waited for him. It responded to him. It trusted no one else. The girl stood, her body still tense, as she did not meet his eyes. Instead, she whispered, "The elders will come soon. They will want proof." Proof that you are who the machines say you are. John frowned. Want to prove anything? I just want answers. Her voice was sharp, almost desperate. You will not have a choice. When the elders arrive, they will test you. And the test will decide if you live. Before John could respond, the forest itself seemed to open. Glowing vines shifted aside as figures emerged, taller, robed in flowing garments, their skin carrying the same faint glow as the girl's, but older, colder. Their silver eyes fixed on him with a mixture of awe and dread. The girl bowed low, her forehead nearly touching the ground. John stiffened, but remained standing. One of the elders stepped forward. His voice was deep, carrying authority. It is true. The machine has awakened. The human has returned. The others bowed, just like the girl. Their movements were slow, ceremonial, as if they were not bowing to John the man, but to something greater behind him. John's throat tightened. You don't need to bow. I keep saying it. I'm not a god. I'm not even important. The elder's gaze sharpened. That is not for you to decide. He gestured, and two more figures brought forth a large object. It was long, wrapped in old cloth, heavy enough that both struggled to carry it. When they placed it before John, he realized it was a weapon or something that had once been one. The cloth was unwrapped, revealing a long metallic staff. Its surface was covered in strange markings, glowing faintly like the machine he had touched. At the center was a crystal, cracked but still pulsing with hidden energy. John stared at it, uneasy. What is that? The elder's voice dropped. The last relic of the old humans, the weapon of fire. Only one of your kind may command it. This will be your test. John shook his head. I'm not here to play games with relics. I told you I came because of a distress call. The elder's silver eyes seemed to pierce him. Call was the weapon itself. It summoned you. Do you deny it? John's heart raced. The girl had said the same thing. Slowly, he shook his head. No, I don't deny it. Then take it, the elder commanded. John looked down at the weapon. It didn't look like any human technology he knew. It seemed alive, humming faintly, almost breathing. His instincts screamed at him not to touch it, but the eyes of the elders burned. Into him, waiting, judging, he reached out. His hand trembled as his fingers brushed the metal surface. The weapon flared to life. Light burst from its markings, running down its length, until the cracked crystal at its center glowed like a miniature sun. The ground shook. The air hummed. Every alien in the clearing gasped and bowed deeper. John staggered back, holding the staff. It felt impossibly light in his hands, yet heavy with meaning. Energy coursed through his body, making his skin prickle. His vision blurred, and for a moment, he saw fleets of human ships burning across the stars, alien worlds crumbling under fire, and then other visions of humans building, healing, saving entire civilizations. Two sides. Lightbringers. World-burners. Both were inside him now. The elder raised his voice, filled with both awe and fear. The prophecy is true. The human carries the fire. The girl lifted her head, her silver eyes wide with shock. She whispered so softly that only John heard. It has chosen you. John clenched his teeth, gripping the staff tighter. I don't want this. I didn't ask for this. I just want the truth. The elder's expression was unreadable. Truth is simple. You are the key. The weapon responds to you alone. That is proof enough. John's mind spun. If this weapon was truly built by ancient humans, why was it here? Why had it waited? And most terrifying of all, why him? The staff pulsed again, and his arm burned with the energy flowing through it. He dropped to one knee, gasping. The elders did not move to help. They only watched, as if this pain was part of the test. Through gritted teeth, John forced himself to stand. He glared at them. If this is what you wanted to see, fine. The weapon reacts to me, but I'm not your savior. I'm not your executioner. The elder tilted his head. That remains to be seen. John's frustration boiled over. What do you want from me? The elder's voice was calm, almost cold. Not what we want. What the galaxy needs. The enemy is stirring again, the same one that nearly ended us all before. And only a human can face it. John froze. Enemy. What enemy? The elder's eyes darkened. The swarm. The endless devourers. They rise once more. And now, you must decide if you will fight them as a lightbringer or destroy everything as a world burner. The words cut deep. Around him, the other elders chanted softly, their voices trembling like wind through hollow bones. John looked at the weapon in his hands, pulsed steadily, as if it already knew his choice. But deep inside, John felt the most dangerous truth. Of all, the weapon was not just waiting for him to decide. It was testing him, measuring him. And if he failed, the galaxy would pay the price. The weapon still pulsed in John's hands, glowing faintly like a heartbeat. Each throb of light seemed to echo inside his chest, steady but heavy, as if the staff itself was alive and watching him. The elders kept their heads bowed low. Their voices murmuring words John did not understand. The alien girl, however, stared at him with wide silver eyes, her fear sharper than ever. Finally, John lowered the weapon, his voice tight. "You said there's an enemy. You said only humans can fight it. What are you talking about?" The elder slowly rose from his bow. His silver eyes were grave. "The swarm," he said. "It's the endless ones, the devourers." The name alone made the girl flinch. She grabbed her arms, hugging herself as though the very sound of it chilled her bones. John frowned. "Swarm? What kind of swarm?" The elder's voice was low, heavy with memory. "They are not like you, not like us. They're hunger-given. Form. A tide that eats worlds, that leaves nothing but silence. They came long ago, before your kind vanished. They broke empires. They erased civilizations. And when we thought all was lost," he pointed at the glowing staff, "the humans came." John's chest tightened. "And they fought them?" "Yes," the elder said. "Your ancestors fought the swarm. With fire, with machines, with strength beyond our knowing. They burned entire skies to stop the endless tide. And for a time, they won, but at a cost." The elder's eyes narrowed. "That is why your kind vanished. Some say you fled the galaxy after defeating the swarm. Others say you became what you feared, destroyers, not saviors. The truth was lost, but one thing remained." He gestured to the weapon. "The staff, a warning, a key. Now its fire burns again because the swarm stirs once more." John gripped the staff tighter, unease running through him. "If they're so dangerous, why haven't we seen them yet? Why didn't anyone on Earth warn us?" The alien girl finally spoke, her voice trembling. "Because the swarm sleeps. For generations they have slept in the dark places between the stars. But when the machines awoke and called to you, they awoke as well. They always awaken when humans return." John froze. His heart skipped a beat. "You're saying I woke them up?" Her gaze dropped. "Not just you. All of you. Humanity's fire calls to them. The swarm rises when the humans rise." The word struck him like a blade. If what she said was true, then his very presence here was dangerous. Humanity's return to the galaxy didn't just mean exploration or discovery, it meant war. John took a step back, shaking his head. "Now that can't be right. You're blaming us for something that isn't our fault. We didn't create these things." The elders' tone hardened. "Fault does not matter. Cause does. It's a swarm and humans are bound. Always have been, always will be." The clearing grew silent. Even the glowing plants seemed to dim, as if they too were listening. John felt his chest tighten with frustration. "So what do you expect me to do? Pick up this weapon and fight your ancient nightmare? I'm one man. I'm not a hero. I'm not whatever you think I am." The elder did not look away. "You are not one man. You are human. That is enough." John's jaw clenched. He wanted to throw the weapon down, to walk back to his ship and leave this cursed place behind. But something inside him whispered that he could not. Not now. Not when he had seen the weapon's power with his own eyes. The girl stepped closer, her voice soft, almost pleading. "Do you understand now why I bowed? It was not honor. It was fear. Because you carry both sides, Lightbringer and the World Burner. And if the swarm truly comes, the galaxy will depend on which one you choose to be." John met her silver eyes, and for a moment, the weight of it all crashed down on him. This wasn't just about him. It wasn't even just about humans. This was about survival, hers, the elders, the galaxy itself. But still, doubt gnawed him. What if I fail? What if I'm not strong enough? The elder stepped forward, his gaze sharp. "Then the galaxy dies." The words hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. A low, distant rumble rolled through the earth, deep and unnatural. The girl gasped, clutching John's arm. The elder's face darkened. "They are closer than we thought." John's grip tightened around the staff as fear and adrenaline surged through him. "What was that?" The elder's voice was grim. A swarm, a fragment of it, testing the ground, scenting the fire. John's mouth went dry. He had expected some far-off enemy, maybe weeks or months away. But the sound under his feet told a different story. The enemy wasn't coming. The enemy was already here. The girl's voice shook. It begins again. John looked at the weapon in his hands. Pulsed faster now, almost eager, as though it too could feel the enemy's presence. His reflection stared back at him in the glowing crystal, but the eyes looking at him didn't feel like his own. They felt older, heavier, as if the weapon was showing him what he might become. Light-BRNGER, world-burner. The choice would not be his alone. The swarm was coming. When they arrived, the galaxy would learn what kind of human John truly was. The ground shook again, heavier this time. Dust slipped from the glowing vines. Strange birds burst from the forest canopy, shrieking as they scattered into the sky. John gripped the weapon tighter, its light burning brighter with every tremor, as if the staff itself hungered for battle. The elders did not panic. They stood in silence, their silver eyes fixed on him. They did not look at the forest. They did not prepare to run. They only watched John. The alien girl clung to his sleeve. Her voice was low, shaking. Do you see now? That's why we bow. Because the swarm comes when humans return. Because you are the only one who can choose. Fight, or let us all fall. John's throat tightened. He pulled his arm away gently, trying to keep his voice steady. I didn't come here to lead anyone. I didn't come here to fight wars. I'm just a soldier, a scout. I don't want this. The elder's voice was sharp. Want does not matter. Choice does. The fire has chosen you. The weapon is chosen. You and now. The galaxy will see what you choose to be. John glared at him, anger sparking. You think I can decide the fate of your whole world? The fate of an entire galaxy? It's insane. The elder stepped closer, his eyes cold, but calm. It has always been insane. That is the burden of your kind. The girl pulled at John's arm again, desperate. Don't you understand? If you refuse, the swarm will rise unchallenged. They will eat everything, my people. Your people. Every world between the stars. The only thing they fear is your fire. The word fire code in John's head. He looked down at the weapon, pulsing in his grip. The energy crawling through it burned like electricity under his skin, whispering to him. Images flickered in his mind against ships of fire, worlds saved, worlds destroyed. He felt both the power to protect and the temptation to consume. He closed his eyes. He remembered Earth, his family, the faces of soldiers who had fought beside him. He had sworn to protect, not to rule. He had sworn to survive, not to destroy. But this was different. The elder's voice cut through his thoughts. You must lead us. John opened his eyes, his jaw clenched. I'm not your leader. Then you are our executioner, the elder replied simply. Silence fell. Even the forest seemed as still as though waiting. John's hands trembled on the staff. He wanted to scream at them, to tell them they were wrong. But then the ground split with a terrible sound like claws tearing through stone. From the shadows of the forest, a shape rose. It was not a beast, not in the way John understood beasts. It was a moving mass, black and shifting, like thousands of insects crawling. Together to form one body? Dozens of glowing red eyes blinked across its surface, unblinking, hungry. The swarm, the girl gasped and fell to her knees, trembling. The elders bowed lower, murmuring prayers. The swarm hissed, a sound that was not one voice, but many. The ground around it died, plants withered, soil blackened. It crept forward, drawn to the pulsing light of the weapon in John's hands. John's instincts screamed at him to fight, but his heart screamed to run. He had faced enemies before, but nothing like this. This was not a war you could win with tactics or bullets. This was hunger given shape. The girl looked up at him, her silver eyes filled with tears. Please choose. John's pulse raced. He felt the weapon vibrating, urging him forward. He took a step, and the light flared. cutting through the forest like a beacon. The swarm halted, its many eyes narrowing against the glow. The elder spoke again, his voice heavy. Lightbringer or world burner? Which will you be? John's grip tightened. He thought of Earth, of his people. If he turned away now, the swarm would spread, and sooner or later, they would find his home. He couldn't let that happen. He wouldn't let that happen. He raised the weapon, and light surged upward, blazing like a second sun. The swarm screeched, pulling back from the brilliance. For the first time, John saw it hesitate. It feared the weapon. It feared him. Power rushed through him, wild and intoxicating. He felt stronger, faster, more alive than ever before. The temptation was there he could end it, burn the forest, destroy everything in front of him. That would be the easy path. But the girl's voice pierced his thoughts. Do not lose yourself. He blinked, her words grounding him. His breath came heavy, sweat rolling down his face. Lowered the weapon slightly, fighting the burning urge inside. The swarm hissed, retreating slowly into the shadows. The ground stopped trembling as the air grew still. The elders lifted their heads, their voices hushed with awe. The fire bends to him. John dropped to one knee, gasping, the weapon dimming again. He stared at his hands shaking as the reality sank in. He'd made a choice. He had chosen to stand, to fight. But deep inside, he knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The swarm had tested him and retreated. It wasn't gone. It was waiting, watching. It would return stronger. And when it did, the galaxy would demand more from him than a single choice. The girl knelt beside him, her voice quiet. Now you see, this is why we fear you, because you hold the power to save us or destroy us. John looked at her, his voice raw. And what if I become the wrong kind of human? Her silver eyes shimmered with sorrow. Then we bow. Before the end. The clearing was silent again, though the silence felt wrong. The swarm had pulled back into the shadows, but John could still feel it, like a predator crouching in tall grass. It was waiting, watching, testing him. John leaned on the weapon, his breath heavy. The light inside the staff had dimmed, but it still pulsed softly, as if reminding him, this is not over. His arms trembled, not only from exhaustion, but from the weight of what had just happened. The elders finally rose from their bows. Their silver eyes burned with a mixture of awe and fear. One of them stepped closer, his voice trembling. The prophecy lives, obeys you. The swarm recoils from you. You are the one. John shook his head quickly. No, stop saying that. I'm not your savior. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. The elder's gaze was steady. Does not matter what you want. Galaxy does not care for your wishes. You carry the fire. You carry the choice. John's fists tightened around the staff. What if I don't want to choose? What if I walk away right now? The elder's voice dropped, cold and final. Then the swarm will devour everything. Your people, our people, every world. There will be nothing left but silence. The girl knelt beside John, her silver eyes wide with both fear and pity. Do you see now why we bow? Not because we believe you are kind, not because we believe you are cruel. We bow because we know you hold the end of us in your hands. But her words cut into him. He had never asked to carry anyone's fate, yet here he was, being crushed by the weight of an entire galaxy. John lowered his voice. What if I fail? The girl's hand trembled as she touched the weapon. Then we all fail with you. Ow. Ground was quiet, but John's mind was not. The images from before still haunted him, fleets of human ships blazing across the stars. Worlds healed, worlds destroyed. Lightbringers, world burners. Two sides of the same story. Two sides of the same species. But there had been something else in those visions. Something he hadn't wanted to admit. He had seen humans vanishing. Entire fleets leaving, not destroyed, but fleeing. And behind them, a shadow. Not just the swarm. Something else. The weapon pulsed in his hands, and before he realized it, his vision shifted again. His eyes rolled back, and he was somewhere else, floating in endless space. he saw Earth shining blue and fragile. Then he saw other Earth-like worlds, long forgotten, buried in time. And he saw humans not as explorers, not as soldiers, but as something greater. They commanded machines that could shape suns. They walked among stars as if they were gods. But then, darkness John saw humans turning on each other, light-bringers against world-burners, brother against brother. The war was not only against the swarm, it had been against themselves. Humanity had not vanished because of the enemy alone. Humanity had vanished because they had become their own worst enemy. The vision burned away. John collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. The staff's light faded back to a soft glow. Sweat dripped from his forehead. The girl grabbed his arm. "What did you see?" John's voice was hoarse. The truth, or part of it. The elder leaned forward. "Speak." John hesitated, fear gripping his chest. If he had told them the truth, that humans had once been gods of war, that they had destroyed themselves, they might fear him even more. But if he lied, if he pretended he didn't know, he would be denying the very truth he needed to face. Finally, he said, "Humans didn't just fight the swarm. We fought each other. We nearly destroyed ourselves. That's why we disappeared." Elders murmured among themselves, some in shock, others nodding as if they had always suspected. The girl's face paled, her eyes shimmering with sorrow. "So it is true," she whispered. "You are both savior and destroyer, light and shadow." In one, John wanted to deny it, but he couldn't. The weapon in his hands was proof. The visions were proof. Another tremor shook the ground, lighter this time, but it made the trees tremble. The swarm was still near, waiting, testing, growing. The elder's voice was firm. "There is no more time. The swarm rises, and only you can lead us. Will you choose to fight? Or will you abandon us to silence?" John looked at the girl. Her silver eyes begged him for hope, for strength, for something more than fear. He raised the weapon slowly. The crystal glowed, casting shadows across his face. "If I fight, it won't just be for you. It will be for all of us. For humans, for your people. For every world the swarm threatens." The elders bowed low, murmuring words of reverence. But inside, John's heart twisted, because he knew the visions had shown him something else. A warning. The weapon was not only a tool, it was a chain. Every time he used it, it pulled him closer to the power of the world burners. The more he fought, the more he risked becoming the very monster they feared. The girl whispered, as if sensing his thoughts. "Be careful, John. The fire burns both ways." John nodded grimly. "I know." He turned toward the forest, where the swarm's red eyes still flickered in the shadows. His voice was steady now, but it carried a weight he could not escape. "Let them come. If this is my choice, then I'll face it." The staff blazed, brighter than before, flooding the clearing with light. The swarm hissed from the shadows, recoiling but not retreating. The battle was not yet here, but John knew it was coming. And as the weapon burned in his hands, he realized the darkest truth of all. The prophecy had never been about saving or destroying the galaxy. The prophecy had been about him. And if he failed to control the fire within, history would repeat itself.